Everyone, how you doing? Good, awesome. Welcome in. All right, so I just wanted to give you all an opportunity. I know I did some pretty hefty intros for you, but to introduce yourselves, provide a little background.
Yeah, Rob Davis, President and Chief Marketing Officer at Novus. We are a media planning and buying agency. We specialize in doing that through the lens of geography and kind of hyper-local media. Prior to that, I'd spent about 25 years, sounds weird when you say it out loud, at Leo Burnett and then Starcom. I got the quarter century itch and came over about 5 years ago to Novus. And then on a personal note, my lovely and talented wife is also here, Whitty, who's really the one who made it all possible.
So the first question that I have is, what does a transformative customer experience look like in each of your respective industries? Rob?
Yeah, so we specialize in media. So for us, a transformative experience is about where, when, and how consumers come into contact with a brand. And so that can range from anything from on the kind of simple side of just putting together the right medium with the right message. So an example there, Lidl Grocery is one of our key clients, and their brand positioning is suspiciously low prices. So they're kind of an Aldi competitor, and so it's this, shockingly, surprisingly low. And so one of the things we did was we went around and we found kind of low clearance bridges, and we put a billboard saying suspiciously low prices as you're going in your car, going through, that's suspiciously low, right? So it really brings that experience of the low price home.
This is an audience question that I'm going to kick out to you guys and whoever wants to sort of tackle it first. But what questions do you ask a team to have them shift their thinking from just executing marketing tactics to developing an overall marketing strategy? Anybody feel like jumping on that one first?
I can jump in because I had a former boss that actually had a good trick that he taught me, which is to ask, when you're talking about a strategy, what's the corollary, or what's kind of the opposite. So a lot of times we'll come up with strategies that we think sound amazing. You kind of talk yourself into, our objective, our strategy is going to be to acquire new customers. And what's the when would you not want to acquire new customers, right? So that's probably not a good strategy if the corollary doesn't make any sense.
It's not specific enough.
It's not specific enough. And so I had a client actually say once, there's a million good ideas. It's not about finding a good idea, it's about finding the right idea.
Well, let me completely change gears a little bit to the hot tech of the minute. What are the biggest impacts that you've seen from AI at your organization so far?
Yeah, I think at Novus for us, it's a combination of those things. So the spectrum on kind of using for the bottleneck breaking, the brainstorming, the kind of, for the more, open source, ChatGPT, the free resources, just simple daily tasks that, we get a lot of RFP requests for proposal requests, and they all ask questions in a slightly different way, and it can be kind of labor intensive. And so, we'll get questions, some version of, what are the top 10 ways you target audiences in your digital platform? And, we'll go, I don't know, ChatGPT, what are the top 10 ways that we target audiences? And so there's kind of that side of it. And then in a more advanced, I think we got one of our analytics guys here, more advanced, data sets for modeling and things like that. We've got a partnership that, one of the things in advertising is always, ultimately trying, how many people are aware of our product? And we kind of use reach, how many eyeballs, as a surrogate, but that's not the same thing as awareness. And so we've got a partnership that partly uses generative AI to create what they call a synthetic society. It sounds kind of a little scary, but the idea is, how do you model potential behaviors and what people actually internalize from the advertising?
Wow, that's fascinating stuff. And we've had the opportunity to work together a little bit, and the range of tools that you guys utilize are pretty awesome. So cool. Is authenticity still valued or even relevant right now?
Yeah, there's a apocryphal quote that I love, which is, authenticity is the most important thing. Once you learn how to fake that, you are set.
Well said. Well said.
But yeah, no, I think that's right. I think relative to artificial intelligence, it depends on how you use it. In a lot of cases, it's data, so it's really neither authentic or inauthentic. We think of it as enablement. It's kind of a slight twist on kind of what you talked about, but it's enablement of whatever strategy or whatever insights you're trying to develop.
What are some of the top actions your company has taken over the years to become a leading voice in your field?
Well, I think one of the key ways to be a leading voice in industry is to participate or attend a panel sponsored by Lydon.
You're welcome.
Shameless pandering. I think, very similar for us. Kind of a quid pro quo in terms of putting things out into the industry, white papers, test design, experimental, types of things, and then, expect that our peers do the same kind of, obviously non-confidential things, but we really do try to participate in a lot of, no joke, panels and roundtables and discussion groups and those types of things, and we're pretty open. And to your point about the kind of the learning-teaching relationship, I think we find that helps elevate our voice and that of our clients by doing that.
Cool, awesome. Do you guys have a specific book, magazine? This is a question from the audience, by the way. Book, magazine, podcast, or other tool that you recommend to stay informed on marketing trends?
So, I'd start. It's if you can spell it, it'll be a life changer. But it's a former mentor of mine, Rashad Tabakawala is his name. Yes. But he's just phenomenal. He publishes a free newsletter. It's up to, I think, 100,000 global subscribers or something, but I think it's called "The Future Does Not Fit in the Containers of the Past." It's every Sunday he publishes it, and it's just, sometimes it's about very technical aspects of marketing. A lot of times it's about the changing workforce. It's just really thought-provoking, and even if you don't always agree with them, it'll always get you to think.
Give an opportunity to the audience to ask any questions.
Hi, great discussion. Thank you. The authenticity conversation, I was really tracking with that. So, do you encounter where there's a gap with your clients between where you're not feeling like they're being authentic?
Maybe just from a media perspective, the way authenticity shows up is where we place the brand to consumers. And so in our kind of polarized world, it leads to some interesting discussions for every consumer that wants you to be in one news channel. There's a bunch that want you to be in a different news channel. And so, we've been helping our client kind of navigate. And it does a lot of times come back to not just what you as a client or a marketer feel, but what do your consumers really are the ultimate source of truth for what your brand stands for. Kind of comes back to our control versus lockdown and all those types of things. And so I had a client once, it's just, small talk when you go, oh, what shows you watch or what podcasts you listen to. And I had a client once say, I'm not going to tell you. And we were like, oh, yeah, that's rude. And she went, no, because you should be buying media based on what's authentic to our brand, what our consumers want to consume, not what I as an individual do. And I thought that was wise of her.
Well, I think we covered a lot of ground today, everybody, and I could not be more thankful for each and every one of you to give your time to us today, your expertise. I think this was a great conversation, and you guys are all lucky that we only do this once every 50 years. So you won't be getting any invites back anytime soon, not because it wasn't wonderful, but just because we don't have enough time to do these kinds of productions all the time. Thank you all for joining us today.